How's it going, everybody? I'm here to bring you another Pokemon review, this time detailing the Teal mask. For anybody who's on the fence about getting the DLC, unfortunately, I would say I wish they had it to where you had it, you could purchase it separately from, part 1 and part 2, but it's just all together, right? So, that is going to be a $35 DLC, right, for both parts, so a little bit of pricey, but is it worth it? First few minutes I'll kind of go into a little bit spoiler free. I won't really go into what happens in the story, just so that if anybody is curious and wants to hear about it themselves, they can do that, right? So first and foremost, this added in a good amount more Pokemon that we were missing from just in general, and the thing that I really enjoyed that they brought back were Pokemon like Electros, Zebstrika, Pokemon from Unova, basically, right? And of course they did carry on a lot more Pokemon from Galar. And if you have already completed the Pokédex in the Paldea region, you will already have 100 Pokemon registered for the Kitakami Pokédex. It's only 200 Pokemon, so it's not too much of a hard challenge to complete. Another thing I will point out that it story-wise or how long it'll take for you to finish the whole DLC. If you're very lax about it and not trying to speed run any of this, you can get it done in about 6 to 7 hours, and that was me just kind of casually playing, catching the random Pokemon here and there, trying to find where they'd spawn, doing a few of the Terror Raid battles. That was pretty much it. I did enjoy that for the way that it introduced these characters. Yeah, you get a nice little feel for this different region. Kind of wish we knew where it was. It obviously has inspiration from Sinnoh, Hoenn, and no, not Hoenn, sorry, I said Sinnoh and Johto. I don't know why I said Hoenn. They got a lot of music compositions that do tease music from other places. One that just came out was the Diamond and Pearl, right? I really like having the music from those generations kind of leak into this, even if it is little bits here and there. As well as, what else could I say that they did really well without spoiling too much? They added a few more accommodations to your Rotom Pokédex. I think some of the themes changed a little bit, but I would say spoiler free on what I would say you could expect. It was very good for the amount of money that I'd say invested into it. It is definitely better than the first DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield. It blows it out of the water by a huge mile. Graphics and a lot of other improvements to the PC box and like the animations when you terrestrialize, those are a little bit smoother. Now you still do have an issue where if you either time skip too many times and then try to continue your game, you will experience severe lag or like the frame drops. Obviously that can just be easily remedied by closing it out, starting it up again. But yeah, if you do leave the game running for too long, it does have that issue where the frame rate will drop occasionally. But if you're playing a normal day, 8 hours maybe, I think you'll be fine. It shouldn't really experience anything. From my point of view, I've only really seen improvements from the base game. There are still unfortunate frame drops and other stuff like that for like Pokemon that are at a distance. So Pheasantipity and Okidogi are two of the examples that show that their frame dropped quite a bit, right? And then yeah, that unfortunate. I don't know if it is the hardware, if it is just, you know, Pokemon not being able to program properly. That's probably some of the other jarring things that will take your eye out of focus occasionally when you start seeing the frame drops from certain Pokemon. Not too often, but it does happen, right? Now we will get into spoilers. So you've been warned. I will get everything I need to explain, right? Whatever. So the Kitakami region brought us a few new Pokemon. The 3 that are advertised, they look pretty much like bad guys. It is confirmed they are bad guys. It's kind of hard to, you know, hide that fact when you can clearly see what their emotions are, especially Okidogi. He looks like a shifty panda bear dog. Alright, so we got that happening. And Ogerpon. Now this cute little Pokemon was unfortunately seen as a threat by the villagers, and when she arrived to the village long ago with her human companion. Now this dude must have been huge. I know me and my friend were speculating, this is speculation, that maybe it was AZ. We do know that AZ did travel around the Pokemon world. He's been to Hoenn. Like, it's possible. It could be that this was the man, especially since he does, I mean, you know, abandon and go other places. I didn't really get too far into speculating on that, but I know me and my friend were like, hey, maybe it could be them. Yeah, maybe. And so he gets framed. He gets to make a bunch of masks after the village doesn't want him and his Pokemon around, right? And after he's made the masks, right? I believe it's after his owner dies or something happens. He, the loyal 3, right? The mischievous little bunch basically rob Ogerpon of the other masks, and obviously, like, out of revenge and spite, attacked the loyal 3, defeated them, but in doing so, the village thought he was the villain, right? Especially because they couldn't see her face and all that stuff. And, well, the loyal 3 became the heroes of the village, and Ogerpon ended up being pushed to the outskirts, right? Was an outcast. Now, introducing Kitten and Carmine. We get introduced to these 2 new characters from the Blueberry Academy, and they are very much drama oriented. Both of them have their own interesting dynamic. One is a shy, recluse young man. The other one is a dramatic young adult female who just gets upset when she loses. And some of the shit she does, I can't say it wasn't cringe. I was just like, okay, I guess we're doing that. But I did like these 2 additions to the Scarlet and Violet character roster. Very new additions as far as what they bring to the table. They definitely are a lot more fleshed out as opposed to fucking Penny and Arvin. Well, I guess Arvin's more fleshed out, but more fleshed out than Penny and Nimona. We get to learn a little bit more about their backstory, who their village descendants are from. You know, we meet their grandparents there in the village as well. And it's only after the festival starts, so jumping around, my bad. Once we have arrived and we meet Carmine and Kitten, we get told to buddy up with another member of the opposite school, right? And there's 4 of us from Scarlet and Violet, or Uva and Naranja Academy, and whatever. I talked to the people. We end up getting introduced. After we battle, we go back to the community center, and I'm able to partner with Kitten, and we go to our first signboard, right? That's where we go to the Loyal 3 Plaza, and we're able to see what the story of the village is telling us. Now, right off the bat, Kitten's already kind of like, I don't really know if I believe their stories. He hasn't been told anything else. This is just his own speculation, and the fact that he believes what is going on. I mean, he's guessing pretty good, right? So we take our first picture of the signboard, and after that, we are tasked to go to the second spot to learn more about what's happened here in Kitakami, right? So, sorry about that. I had to take a quick water break. So, after we get to the second signboard, we're just, again, we've already battled Kitten a second time, I believe, at this point, and he is very, jealous of our strength, right? It's unfortunate, but with the fucking main character, we also have Pokemon that are in the level of 80s. Anyways, after we've experienced a little bit of battling with him, get to the second signage, it isn't until after that we're basically informed about the festival that's going to start soon. And after we do that, we get some cool little outfit for ourselves, which actually is different from the blueberry, the whole academy outfit, right? So we get a festival attire, and during this festival, we also get to do something called Ogre Oustin. It's a cute little mini game. Kind of wish the frame rate was a little better in that game, but nonetheless, it's a fun little side thing to do if you don't want to, catch Pokemon, I guess, at the time, or do battles. Also, the reward for it, if you do complete it and get the best high score, is a shiny Munchlax with a special title given to it as well. So that is something that is pretty neat. You get a free shiny Munchlax if you do well enough, I guess. The other thing, after that, we do the little mini game, go around the festival, buy snacks and stuff, and funny enough, we notice something in the corner of our eye. We go see what it is, and it's this little Pokemon that had been kind of poking around, seeing what's going on, and we noticed it. And so after we followed it, Carmine noticed something that, hey, where did Ace go? So she followed us, and then Carmine and Ace, we see the Pokemon, and we're just like, oh snap! And as we try to approach it, it kind of gets startled, mostly from Carmine, and its mask falls from the stairs, and in that process, it unfortunately gets damaged. Carmine tries to offer, like, hey, here's your mask, you dropped it, and instead it gets scared and it runs away. And in that time, we decide, what? Carmine says to us, hide this, put it away for now. Kitten would be super upset if you found out we met Ogerpon without him, right? He's a huge fan of him, but yet here we are, not telling him. And unfortunately, he doesn't know any of this. And come the next day, when we're told to go to the third signage, he's kind of bullied by his sister very harshly to be like, hey, this and that, I got stuff to do with Ace. You go, leave us alone for now, right? And he's just kind of like, whatever, I guess, like calling her a jerk. And she's like, what did you call me? Whatever, I'm getting to it. And so pretty much he finds out that we were lying to him. And because we lied to him, he starts, feeling a little bit more resentment towards us. And even though we're partners with him, because that little connection that we made with Ogerpon and not even telling him, that starts kind of putting him on this line of like, I'm very jealous and envious of what you're doing. After we complete a few more tasks, like I said, we go to the crystal pools and we're able to get a little cluster of the crystals, right? We fight a pretty strong melodic. After that, we go back to the grandpa. But as we go back to the grandpa, we find out Kitten had actually stolen the mask. You know, because he found out that we were basically lying, obviously, right? So he goes to the Loyal Plaza, and as he's there, he challenges us to a battle and says, "Hey, you know what? I'm tired of this. I know you guys saw Ogerpon without me. It's not fair. You guys know I like him." And what do? We fight him for the mask. It was a pretty easy sweep. Anyways, after he leaves, the Loyal 3 burst from resurrection. I don't remember what the fuck happened, but they come back to life for some fucking reason. After they come back, we're tasked with obviously beating them up and retrieving the mask, because after they came back to life, they went to the main hall, and the idiot village chief just was like, "Here you go. Here's the masks that you guys stole back then." But obviously they don't know the right story. So we have to go retrieve the masks and also defeat the Pokemon. Now, when we first fight them in this first encounter, they're all Titan formed, whatever. They're all huge. So you have to do what I believe is a double battle with Carmine. And honestly, not too bad. But I will say, the typings threw me off because I wasn't expecting some of the typings. I guess I'll spoil what they are. So Fizandipity was the first one I went up against, and I didn't know it was. Now they're all going to be poison as their main, but this one was poison fairy type. I was just like, oh, I thought you were flying type. That's why I couldn't figure it out. Now the other one, the Monk Dory, was a psychic poison type. Interesting as well. And then lastly, this type we've already had before, but poison fighting. Okie dokie. The one that gave me the hardest trouble, well, at least the one that gave me the hardest time to catch, was definitely fucking Fezandipity. Somehow. But the other ones were easy to beat up. After that story is done, you retrieve the mask and you give them back to Ogerpon. After you've also done that, Kitten, and during this whole thing also, Kitten apologizes for stealing the mask and doing what he did. After we retrieve all that stuff, we come back, we finally explain, or sorry, Kitten this whole time had been explaining to the village people the actual story of what happened, right? And so at the end of the day, Kitten is able to convince everybody that the story was wrong, this and that, right? So hooray, the day is finally coming to a nice close. But just before, we have a little bit of storm brewing. We return Ogerpon back to his home, but as we return him, what's his name, Kitten, says, if you because it pretty much, once we get up there, Ogerpon doesn't want to go home anymore. It's basically chosen us as like its partner, its new friend, new home, and this makes Kitten very upset. Once we've gotten to his home, and Kitten's basically like, hey, if you're not gonna go home and you're gonna go with him, why not come with me then? Like, I've been a fan of yours, basically, like all this other stuff. So he gets upset, and we have one more final battle before the Blueberry Academy one, DLC. And in this battle, I will say, a little bit more challenging. Maybe I gave myself a little bit harder Pokemon to use, so yeah, it was a little bit challenging for myself. But it was good. And after we beat him, we end up having to fight Ogerpon. And so pretty much after this last battle is determined, we end up fighting Ogerpon. And to my surprise, we actually have to fight all his forms, which was a very breath of fresh air in my opinion. And yeah, I love his forms. So he goes fire, water, rock, and then grass. And what I love also is that he actually retains the type of each of them. So he goes grass fire, grass water, grass rock, and then just pure grass, right? So, and then also his ability, his signature move, Ivy Selge, whatever it's called. Very good move. I also like the animation of him having like an actual like batting bat. I don't know. It all fit very well. And after that is finished, that completes the story for the Teal Mask. Unfortunately, after we do befriend and capture Ogrepon, you do still see Kitten being upset. After, which was it called? Yeah, after that point, he doesn't come out the next morning when we're all being told, okay, guys, we got to go back. I'm sorry. I know this trip basically felt like a few days. But we cut it short, and after that, we get pretty much told by Carmine that, this isn't goodbye. I'm going to see you again. We'll see them on the Indigo Disc, and more so specifically because of the events that happened in the Teal Mask and also from the main story. Miss Briar or whatever, I think at that point does let us know that we've been invited. And if I'm not just mistaking up information from what we were told from the Pokemon stuff, I do know that we do get invited because of what happened, right? And that's it for the Teal Mask. Now, I will add a little bit more stuff that does happen if you are willing to complete the whole... Well, actually, you don't even have to complete it. You have to just capture at least 150 of the Kitakami Pokedex, but I ended up just opting to finish the Pokedex. If you do this, you will get a new Pokemon, seemingly a new form of a Pokemon. Only one of them in the game. Unfortunate, but very good Pokemon to have. Now, if you interact with a character named Perrin, I'm not too sure how to pronounce her name. She is the descendant from the Diamond Clan. You even see it on her jeans. She's got a little diamond symbol there. So that's pretty neat to see that tie-in from Legends Arceus. And she's a photographer. Basically lost her drive in the world, and tasks us to help her find the elusive Blood Moon Ursaluna. Especially since there have been tales that this creature made it all the way from Hisui to this region. And they do have one photo they show you. I'll show it. And this little side quest doesn't take longer than an hour. There's a nice little like Pokemon Snap challenge, I guess you could say, where you got to go around taking a picture of like 10 random Pokemon in the fog and other stuff like that. So I did enjoy that. You get to see a little bit more of them in their natural environment, right? And then after that, you finally encounter the giant Blood Moon Ursaluna, and this bad boy, he is a very nice beast. Something I wasn't expecting either. He's a special attacker, and his signature move, Blood Moon, is a normal type attack. So you might think you're protected if you're a ghost, but also his signature ability allows him to hit ghost types. So you're not even safe if you're a ghost type. That's pretty much what that black eye gives him, the ability to hit ghost types as well with normal moves. So he has permanent foresight on at all time. And that's it. It's a nice reward to have at the end of the game. And that completes the Teal Mask DLC and all of its story. In total, I would give this an 8 out of 10. Honest review of what I loved about it, all the new experiences. I made sure I didn't just have my level 100 team and just steamroll through everything, because that wouldn't have been as fun, right? But yeah, let's see. But yeah, this is kind of rambling on for a bit. Oh, let me close that. And yeah, I'd say this was a pretty good DLC overall. Worth the money, and it's definitely going to be worth seeing how the story unfolds in the second part of the DLC, especially since it is tied together, and you do need to complete the Teal Mask before you can actually before you can even go into the Indigo Disc. So just a note, so for all you new players and other people that don't know that. Otherwise, that's going to be it for me. Ace Shinigami signing out, and hopefully you have a good evening, good night, and good morning wherever you're at, and bye.